What would you have done though if he had said, that's just my mom?
You can't do those things and focus on anxiety at the same time.
Right. I think it's so misunderstood. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fascinating Womanhood channel. On our channel, we talk about everything that has to do with developing femininity and building strong, long-lasting, loving relationships. I am Cherry Lynn, and I'm here with my mom, Dixie Forsyth. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back to another Mini Monday. If you're not familiar with Mini Mondays, it's just a time on our channel where we like to answer questions from our audience. And you'll have to excuse my voice and my sniffles. I have a little bit of a cold. We just like to read the question out and answer it as best we have with the little tiny bit of information that we get. So do you want to read the question?
Yeah. So this question is about, I think it's online dating. How can I encourage a man to move from texting to phone conversations without being pushy?
That's a great question. What do you
think?
That
is a great question. Well, okay, there's a couple of things I think to look out for here. First of all, why is he not moving to a phone conversation? Are you maybe jumping a little bit ahead of him? As to the answer, how can you do it? What I would do is if you're having texting conversations with a person, that can get really tiring and really old. Have you ever noticed sometimes you're texting someone and you think, this is a whole conversation. Why don't we just pick up the phone and talk? You can do that also with a texting someone you're texting with, if it's something besides just, hi, how are you doing? Or just very small things, if it's a whole conversation, it's perfectly normal to say, hey, it'd be easier to talk on the phone because this is a conversation. Would you like to, are comfortable jumping into that? Because if you're already in a conversation, you're already doing that with him. It's not pushy.
My only 2 cents on this is just maybe be a bit of a detective and try to figure out why. I know for me, sometimes I have to text because I'm in an area or an environment that's really loud. And sometimes it can be tricky for me to get on the phone because I'm worried that the people around me or the people on the person that I'm talking to, I want to put my best foot forward, especially if I can only imagine if I were dating this person or I was interested in this person and I've got all this noise in the background. And that may not be the case for him, but I guess that's just an example of why is he continuing this? Why do you think he is? Maybe be a bit of a detective and just start. I mean, you don't want to be strange and ask strange questions, but maybe ask him what he's up to. What are you doing right now? Like things like that, just to kind of get a gauge as to why. There's got to be a reason why.
If you have not moved on to the telephone and it's only texting, you really don't know him really at all because you haven't even heard the inflection tones in their voice, let alone seen them and talked either by FaceTime or in person. So your knowledge of that person has to be pretty minimal at that point. So I think, like you say, you should always at that stage of any relationship, you should be very careful and be a detective. Your goal is to want to learn more about him.
And I do have to say, too, there is an up and coming, I don't know the age of these people, but that we're talking about, but there is kind of an up and coming, I guess, generation of people right now that love to text. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but it can be kind of tricky if you, like you mentioned, you just want to have a phone call. You just want to connect over the phone and you've got this person that's just not there yet. I think just keep in mind, he just might not be there yet, which sounds so kind of silly, right? Because we didn't even used to have texts. It's like, what would he have done if there weren't any text messages? I don't know. I just think I've just noticed that there's a lot of younger kids nowadays that really, it's not even younger kids, but there's just a lot of people that really prefer texting. They feel comfortable texting. It's almost like it's a level that you have to reach with somebody before you're ready to talk on the phone, which sounds kind of silly, but I've just noticed a lot.
Texting can go too far where if you go too far that it feels like you're kind of hiding out. You don't really want to let them know you. And in the beginning, that's safe to be safe. But then if you're ready to move the relationship a little further and they're still only wanting to text, I would wonder why.
Well, you know what's kind of magical about texting? You can erase your mistakes before you hit send. You can think about what you want to say. I think that's kind of magical when you're, especially if you're dating or you're interested in somebody and you're perhaps a little insecure and you're worried about saying the wrong thing or maybe how you might come across. Texting is kind of magical in that way because you can use emojis and you can kind of make everything appear perfect. But then there's the flip side of that. In texting, sometimes things can come across the way you did not intend them to be. So I can see both sides of it. I can see the person that's maybe a little bit hesitant, maybe is a perfectionist, doesn't want to make a mistake. And then I can see the other side of it of the person that's perhaps not getting a feel for the intent behind the person that's hiding behind the text. You know what I'm saying?
But the bottom line is they want to know how to move into a phone conversation. There are natural ways to do it where you don't have to seem pushy. If you're having regular long texting conversations with a person, it's not rude or unrealistic to say, can we switch to the phone? This is getting, by the time you do this for so long, it gets kind of tiring.
I agree. Maybe that's what she says. Geez, my fingers are starting to get a little worn out from all this texting. Do you mind if we move to the phone? Like that would be a cute thing to say. Yeah.
The phone does not expose you. It's another level. It doesn't expose you totally to a person. And there's more cues to knowing them. But when you were talking a minute ago about texting, I was thinking in my parents' day that was called letters, wrote letters.
Right.
And it was assumed you already knew the person. You already knew them face to face. So it wasn't a stranger. People did sometimes get lined up with people where they were like pen pals and wrote to each other. But that was probably the early equivalent of a text was a pen pal. But if you want to move to the next phase, which is the telephone, which isn't even in person, there are ways to do that without being pushy at all. It can become very natural.
I agree. I think this is a really great topic. And I'm really glad that whoever that is out there that asked it because I think it could probably help a lot of ladies. So thank you for asking it. And if you have a question out there that you would like us to address on Mini Mondays, we'll pop the email up on the screen for you to send it to us. And hopefully we will choose it for a future episode. I know right now we have a ton and we're trying to get through a lot of them. So be patient if you send it to us right now or soon. Be patient with us. We're going through them right now. But we love your questions and thank you so much for asking them. And thanks, Mom, for answering that one. I was really curious what you were going to say about this one. I think that was some great advice. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, don't forget to hit that little bell button so that you can help support us grow and you will know when we have future videos come out. And we're here every week. So don't forget to check back with us next time and we will see you then. Bye.
See you then. Bye.